Welcome to the Impactful Engineer Project. I'm Steve Maxey, and with my co-host and brother Jake, we are here to bring you guidance, fresh ideas, and the tools to help you become an impactful engineer.
Most engineers don't fail because they lack technical skill. They fail because they never learned how to lead, communicate, and take ownership. This is the Impactful Engineer. We give you the blueprint for career excellence, not textbook answers. I'm Steve Maxey, a senior manager in product development, and I'm here with my brother Jake, owner and principal engineer at NLS Engineering. If you're done with the status quo and ready to take control of your career, then you're listening to the right show. Hello, Jacob.
What's up, man? It's another Friday. It is upon us. It's just like it was yesterday.
Yep.
Damn, things move fast.
Squeezing a quick episode over the lunch.
Here you go.
Heck yeah.
Well, you were having a good conversation. We're going to skip housekeeping. You were having a good conversation with somebody talking about the connection between what you do and who you are, like kind of outside of work and outside of your direct skill set that you're trying to leverage for a position, and how that actually does give you more leverage.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm just going to start out with most people when they walk into an engineering interview or any interview, right, will focus specifically on, okay, what experience, like direct correlated experience do I have to this job, right? Okay, I went to school. If it's a new graduate, that's my experience that I'm going to lean on. If I've had one or two jobs after school, that's the experience I'm going to lean on. And that if that's all you do, it's such a narrow scope of your skills and your abilities that the interviewer is not seeing the full picture of who you are and what you're capable of. And I've seen that directly after hiring people. If they have a plethora of other skill sets, it just comes out naturally, and it has a positive impact on their job, and vice versa, where someone will come in and their resume looked great as far as their direct correlated experience, but they don't do anything outside of, working and like a social life kind of thing. Like they have no hobbies, they don't have other experiences they could leverage or anything. And they just don't have outside of the box thinking. Like they can't leverage other concepts to apply to their engineering job. And so my advice is, if you have hobbies or other experiences like a retail job or other things like that, you can leverage those stories and skill sets to get you a job and be a better engineer up front. And if you don't have those things, get those things. Pick up a hobby. For me, I'm naturally into cars. And so that was a hobby that I leveraged extensively, especially up front when I first got my jobs. But you can get into robotics. You can get into 3D printing. I mean, for mechanical engineers, right? You can start messing with electronics on, like video game consoles. And if you're an electrical engineer, right? Like there's so many things out there that can correlate to a skill set that you can bring to the workplace that could be directly correlated, but also a retail job. What does a retail job actually help you with? Well, talking to strangers on a regular basis, trying to convince people of an idea or like something that they should buy, or like say you're an engineer and you want to convince someone that you have this great invention or idea how to solve a problem. You're going to leverage skills that you picked up at a retail sales job, right? You're going to be able to speak to people. And so my advice is to do something as soon as possible that is outside of the realm of engineering to be able to leverage those skills in the future, whether you're in your job or trying to get a job.
Yeah. What I heard was first do things outside of your direct job, of course, but if you're in school, just searching for the good grade and just doing the thing in the textbook, like our intro, doesn't solve this other part of the equation that's just so massive, and makes you hireable, makes you coachable, makes you be a better leader, all these things. So if you're too far to one side, you have to, like you said, force yourself into the other aspects of life. And then everyone has these things. It's just a matter of finding them
Hmm.
and actually believing that you can formulate or translate that into something valuable to the employer or whoever's looking. And another thing is when people are doing a bunch of interviews and like the hiring managers are thinking about these things, they're not they're not new or green or just someone that has only technical skill and just isn't looking for anything else. They know the value of these things, and so the more you can just bring to the forefront because they're looking for it.
Hmm.
You know, not all hiring managers are really good at asking for it, but when they see it, they know it,
Yeah.
right? So if you don't step into an interview that's very systematized and like the company has trained people on how to interview for years before they start interviewing for their company, if they're not good at it, then you have even more work to do, right? To show them what is good, and then they'll see it and it'll give them that spark, and they'll maybe not even know why they remember your name or like what you had to say, but it's because of these things that you've brought to their attention, that is not just the same old stuff that everybody else has and has said. You know, everybody went to school, everybody has the degree, everybody probably took some extracurriculars, everybody had one or two jobs, that's listed on the resume. They want to cover their work experience, you know, whatever. Like everybody has that. So you got
Yeah.
to bring something else, right, to differentiate yourself. And this is the kind of stuff that you can bring. So, Steve, if you were in an interview, you know, I would be expecting you to bring up all the hours of wrench turning that we did as
Hmm.
kids, because first of all, we come from an upbringing where money was not in abundance. Okay, and so, but we still had this drive. We still wanted to get our asses to the lake
Yep.
as much as possible in the summer, and then in your case to the drag strip, right?
Hmm.
And we wanted to be part of the cruise and be with our buddies in the cars, and that takes money, right? And but it also takes, if you can't just purely buy all that stuff for yourself, it takes a lot of skill. And so you have a huge history of tearing into the automotive world down to the last freaking gasket, you know,
Yeah.
and you can just explore that so well, and
Hmm.
and I would find a way to build a story around that,
Yeah.
and have it explain why that, because we've all spent the time, 20 years old, 30 years old, we've all spent all of this time gaining all of this valuable experience
Yeah.
that is directly related to the job.
Yeah. Another example is because I was in the automotive world, I was also really into like going to events and car shows, going to meets, all this kind of stuff, to the point where I actually hosted my own, and I can bring that up in an interview because what does it take to host an event? I have to sell the merits of the event to sponsors. I have to get people to voluntarily give up money or resources to make this event happen, right? I need space, I need food, I need like live music, etc., trophies, like all the stuff I got donated to this event that I put on. And you have to coordinate, schedules and timing. Like there's so many aspects of things that you put into an event like that I can directly translate that into project management, right? I have to coordinate team A, team B, and team C, and make sure everyone is adding their required resources to make this thing happen. And that's something I can leverage, and it has zero to do with engineering, but it shows that I have the skill sets of project management.
Yep.
It's like a perfect
and
example.
and if you're interviewing for that project management spot, that's a perfect story. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, I knew all the car stuff. Like oh man, but you know what? It really had nothing to do with cars that made that event successful. And that's the funny thing about life, is that most of the time, the core thing and the core skill, without having this other ability to line all those things up, it means nothing. And you know
Hmm.
what really saved my show was following up, because people don't check their email, or at that time, whatever, text or email, whatever it was.
Yeah.
They don't check their stuff all the time. They're not always carrying a phone, or whatever you're talking about, and they'll miss things. They're busy too. So I really found that, like, if I didn't send the 2-3 follow-ups, I wouldn't have secured that funding for all the, raffle items and the trophies and stuff like that. So I found that just like you really just need like to have a follow-up skill. So that's why I always, plan things. I have my sheet and I set reminders for myself, not really related to this job, but that's what really saved that show. And then they're going to remember that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Nothing
and they're
to
like,
do
hey,
with
that
your
could save this project.
Yeah, they'll connect it. They'll be like, yeah, in fact, we just got boned because one of the project managers that I was overseeing as the director, like, thought that it was okay not to follow up for like 3 weeks and just let something sit, So, okay, he gets that. Oh, awesome. So that's that's the whole point of this episode is that like, and if you think you have nothing, you have something. You just got to figure out how to tie it to the person on the other side of the table and commit. Tell the story. Don't back down. Just like you're talking about it. You commit to the story. You'll find your way to transition to another topic.
Yeah. I mean, just ask yourself, like, what happened in my life that myself included, but everyone thought was unobtainable, and then I made it happen.
Yeah. And
you'll find your answer right there.
Yeah. The classic story that I come up with is because I always remember this guy. I was speaking at a college and this kid came up and I was saying something like I'm saying right now. I'm saying everybody has something. You just need to dig it up. And so then they walked up and they're like, I hear what you're saying, but I literally, I was like, I would paint with my dad's company. Like, what the hell does that have to do with he was a mechanical engineer. What the hell does that do with mechanical engineering? Why would I ever talk about that in an interview? And I'm like, tell me about your painting job. What constraints were there? What mattered? Did you have to plan, or is it always just like, oh, I'm just gonna bring my paint bucket and a brush, whenever I felt like it, and I'm just gonna show up and paint houses, And then he started talking about taping and weather and scheduling and rain delays, and you got to make sure it's this hot, and the humidity has a play in it. And you got to mix the activator right. If you do too much, then it's gonna look like shit and it'll bubble, and you got to blah, blah. I'm like, oh.
That's a plethora of skills.
Dude, that is so many skills that you have that comes to a successful exterior paint job, And so, yeah, they walked, they were like, I never really thought about it like that. So that's my classic story.
Yeah. So our point here is you will have something to lean on, but take up a hobby, do more things outside of your profession, so you have even more stories and skills to build on after that.
Yeah. Do you dare, like, let's do a hard one. Do you dare bring up gaming, right?
Gaming.
Have you ever spun that one? Do you dare bring up, the
sure.
restaurant job you had, right?
Sure. I mean, I can spin gaming easy, right? Especially because how many brothers do we have, right? If we are all playing an online co-op team-oriented game, and where there is a clear objective, we clearly have to coordinate to obtain that objective more efficiently than the opposing team, right? Jake, you go over here and cover that area. Kyle, you go over there and be a crazy motherfucker and just distract everyone.
Scott, just be a decoy. Steve, you're the sniper, dude.
Yeah. Yep.
Jake's the fodder.
Yeah.
Right? With Kyle, kind of.
But you clearly have to execute teamwork and effective teamwork at that to overcome the opposition. So yeah, I think you can use gaming. Another way is you and I are both enthusiasts of real-time strategy type games, right? The old Command and Conquer, Total Annihilation, those, et cetera, et cetera. I think there's a plethora of skill sets that you can pull from there. Right? Managing resources, outmaneuvering people, blah, 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 right? Like you have to think very creatively to beat other people at that. Not necessarily the AI, but in those days.
Yeah.
Oh, can you imagine AI?
Dude, it would kick our asses today. Well, no, it wouldn't, because we would be...
We'd be so good anyways.
We would have supplemental AI on our side, and we would figure out how to win.
Yeah. But still, you can leverage those kinds of games, right? There's going to be ways that you can leverage video games. Absolutely.
Hey, my fellow impactful engineers. If there's one thing that you could do to help out this community is to keep listening to the podcast, but also if you found value in it, to share it with one person, give us a 5-star review, or even leave a text review. It'll only take a few seconds of your time. Find that person that you think could enjoy some of this or learn from it, and pass on the good word. Now back to the show. Yeah, and the thing that will stop you from being effective at sharing that is your level of cringe that you put on it, and your level of this is not worthy that you put on yourself.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know what I mean? They can have whatever reaction they want, but if you tell a killer story, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You can even see it in their face. Oh, we're talking about video games and blah blah blah. But if you nail that story, you're fucking in, dude. And I've talked about making pizzas. I've talked about how my tendency is to run straight through walls. I've talked about destroying things. I've talked about my rage. I've talked about drumming. I've talked about, I mean, list it.
The list
I've
goes on.
interviewed quite a few times.
Yeah.
And the list goes on, man. And I don't know. I haven't interviewed hundreds of times. I literally I'll tell you when I interviewed the most and I got the most callbacks was during COVID when I was moving across the country, where I dropped all those stories depending on the context and the situation. Got a ton of callbacks. People really loved that I was able to just open up, talk about my experience, bring up personal stories. They were very used to just hearing very cold, dead, like just technical shit. And I was able to I secured a job right in the middle of the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
Most people called me back and said, man, we really want you on board, but we were hiring freeze. We don't know what's going on. COVID's crazy, blah, blah. Still able to land a job, but it's because I would open up and give those. I don't know how to explain it, but I know that it exists, that people love analogies, stories, and things that will bring together your real life experience in a way that they understand it in plain English.
It's because it's relatable and it's memorable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're just talking to a robot, you want to move on. I mean, as a hiring manager myself, and I do dozens and dozens of interviews on a consistent basis. And if I just have someone in here that's just going through the normal standard textbook stories and doing all the things that their university told them in their resume writing class, it's boring, right? And it's not memorable. And I have to convince myself why I should entertain hiring this person.
Yeah.
Rather than why shouldn't I? Like should I? Try to find something that would say I shouldn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's overwhelmingly positive.
It is a shame that it comes down to that, in my opinion, but it is what it is. Like, the only time I've been able to take just complete blind chances on people is when I've hired co-ops from local universities. And you get to do that because it's like, man, I want to.
It's temporary.
Yeah, but like, I would almost want to do it because it's like, man, I want to impart some wisdom on this. They can do this and this, and I want to show them that, and I want to give them the skills so that when they leave here, they don't interview that way in the real world because they won't get anything that way. And so we work for 3 months straight. I'm trying to teach them engineering and other stupid shit, but I'm trying to build life skills and career skills into them before I let them go. And you can just see the complete change. And then when we do the exit interview and we ask our questions and they feedback on me about how I did, there's always stuff in there about, man, I'm going to interview differently. I'm thinking about this. I'm going to open up more. I'm going to blah. And it's like, I think I'm at 50% now, like, that have contacted me and said, yeah, I graduated, got a job. Thanks for all your support, whatever. We're winning. We're like batting 500, like, it's pretty cool.
It's a good average.
Not that it's all because of, not that it's all because of me. The point of it is, if you're, say, like, you do the standard, I passed my resume around the count, my counselor looked at it, like, we have this technical advice and for graduating seniors department, and we formulated the resume, and like, for the love of God, before you get to that point, just go out, find the ability, because like, I'm only so good at teaching it over an episode. I'm very good at teaching it in real time with hours with you.
Yeah.
My abilities are limited in being teaching all this and diffusing it through the podcast episode. But go figure it out. Please find somebody that can help you pull these stories out. I'm sure if you listen to every episode we have, you would get the idea.
Yeah, because
After
we've
listening
talked about this multiple
to
times.
hours and hours and hours, and just through and just it would fuse into your mind. That's what I did, by the way. Is just I loved weightlifting, and so I would just listen to podcasts that talked about this shit over and over, and eventually I just clicked. I just got it. Bam, bam. And it doesn't come from me knowing it. It just comes from me like reacting because it's been infused in my soul. Like
yeah. Plus, you practiced, right?
And you practice.
Sure. you learn it through repetition, and then you from just like a knowledge base. But you're not going to be able to execute it smoothly until you learn it from a consistent and repeated execution standpoint, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exposure. Because while I did learn a lot by just listening, and there's a lot of value in just listening, but getting exposed to it and taking the chance and going out and just trying to put yourself into an environment that invites this kind of thinking is the best way to do it. That's why people always advise joining groups and going out and people are always throwing out Toastmasters or whatever, but I never did that shit, and then I'm doing just fine. It's just putting yourself in the opportunity. Yeah. We put ourselves into the opportunity by starting the podcast.
Oh yeah.
But also because we moved up into positions where we were given those opportunities and then flopped through them and learned all the stuff that we learned.
Oh yeah.
Coaching, talking to each other and friends and all that stuff. So,
anyone that knows us from the early part of our careers knows that there's been substantial growth.
Yes. And even now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's why we do this, right? Is to help shortcut that growth for others, right? Because we failed so much and got to the point where we are now that we want to help others, reduce that to maybe a couple hundred episodes.
And if you're looking for a job and you're trying to get more face-to-face interviews, like the real is you got to find the person that knows the people to connect you. That's one. That's the best way to do it. You could do what I did during COVID and send out literally thousands upon thousands of personalized emails, not thousands. Okay, come on, that's exaggerating, but just relentlessly putting out personalized emails to people that are not just the info at or the HR portal. You're trying to find emails. You're trying to find any way you can to get in front of people. You're not taking the traditional route of just disappearing your resume into an online click. You're doing the hard work. You're making calls. Like if you're going to do anything, just call the front desk.
Yeah.
And get good at this. And if you do that, it'll make you better at interviewing and having conversations with people because you'll get all of the roadblocks that you never knew existed. You write them down. Oh, that conversation went like shit. That was so awkward. They had no idea why I was calling. I couldn't tell them even why I was calling because I got so fucking nervous. And then I hung up the phone. Great. Write it down. What happened? Well, they said this and then I lost my shit. Okay. Next time they say this, what are my options to say? Write 3 of them down. Go to the next thing and it comes up and you're like, oh, I have my options now. I don't have to freak out. Okay, boom. And then you'll get so good that you'll get past the receptionist person and you'll actually have a project manager. Well, first you'll probably land in someone's box and they won't answer because they screen all their calls. Then you're getting good at leaving voicemails and then you can track your rate about who calls you back. Make a game out of this. Okay. Yeah. And you could push the line, man. Be like, hey, and you found their name online, right? I am authorizing you to do this. Do it if you will. Whatever, man. I don't care. Find someone's name. Call them. Hey, they call. They say, so and so associates. Can I help you? And you're like, yeah, we really need to talk to Peter about this potential project. Oh, okay, cool. What's your name? Oh, Jake Maxey. Engineering. You're not lying. It's you study engineering. You are an engineer. Yeah, engineering. But don't. There's you'll get good at this. Like if they say, okay, what specific project about it? Which one?
Getting a job.
Which one is it? That's absolutely an option. We should have done this in the beginning, dude. This is fun.
Yeah.
That is so an option. You could say, all right, got to be honest with you here. You could say I just found his name from a referral. You could say, I just found his name online because he made this awesome post that I resonated with. And I really just want to talk to the guy. And I left some messages on LinkedIn, but he never answered. And you could leave the messages. So that's true. Give yourself true ammo. Give yourself any reason that is true, that is stating the truth, that you won't feel bad about, to get to the person. All right. And then if you do get to the person, you can be like, man, how you doing, Peter? I can't believe that I was able to get to you. Like, you know how many things I had to go through to get you on the phone? You know, who, and then they're going to say, who are you? What do you want?
Yeah.
And then you're in this new zone of like, okay, how do I manage that emotion?
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, Peter, what I did is I found you online. I saw you make this post and I thought that you had a really good take on it. I'm someone looking for a company that I can work for that matches my values and strengths and thinks the way I do. And I think you guys are it. Do you have a position? I know this is weird. I know like you didn't post anything and like I'm calling you, but do you happen, can I come in today? Can I come in tomorrow? Like, is there a good time for me to just stop by? I'd love to show you what's up.
Yeah.
They could say, dude, I've run into so many different types of people. They could say, this is the most inappropriate thing I've ever had happen. And by the way, who gives a fuck what they think? And you shouldn't have called. If you're looking to get a job, this is not the way to do it. Okay, cool. What is the way to do it? Like, should I come in? Should I email you guys? Should I send a letter? You should wait for us to post something in a portal, and you should never contact us unless we have a job opening. Okay, that sounds totally fair and reasonable. And so you're just playing this game. You're like, that's so fair. Man, sorry to have bothered you. Have a good one. Boom, you're done. Or you can push it further. You can say, I understand there's no job in the portal. It was kind of hard to find. Your website looks old and it like I couldn't really find it. Is there, can I send you, can I get your email? I want to send you an email. And then you could send me back an email with the link to the hiring portal, so I make sure I get it right.
Yeah.
And then
but
maybe
I'll
say,
go ahead and attach my resume.
Exactly. But then they might go, oh yeah, that's reasonable. They might change their script. They might be upset with you still because they got a million jobs going on. They're all on fire, but they picked up the phone, baby. It's fair game.
Yeah.
So like, I just stumbled upon a message that's like really powerful. And that is, if you can just give up the thought of you destroying your entire reputation from one phone call from someone who's not going to remember you ever. And at the worst case, you get a job there. And then 6 months later, you guys are at lunch and you're like,
just laughing it off.
I got a fucking job here just by relentlessly pushing through. I had to get by Tammy. Tammy, you remember that? I got by you. I fooled you.
Yeah.
Aren't you guys glad we're here now? This is so fun. Now we're kicking ass together. Like, then it's a story later.
Yeah. And
So,
it shows how much initiative you have and how relentless you'll be when pushing a project, right? I mean, you're demonstrating a skill set in and itself.
And you did it in a way that was diplomatic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and maybe your first few aren't. You don't know what to say. And you're like, fuck. You know, but by the time you got to them and got through, you have learned that entire skill. How to get somebody comfortable on the phone that you've never met before. It's a good skill.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like, oh, I'm in the management seat now. And now I need to sell some services and convince a client that we're still the right team for them, even though we made a boo-boo. Now you know how to do it and do it calmly and do it in the face of adversity. So there you go.
Yeah.
Go start you need a job. Go fucking make it happen.
Yeah.
Physically show up at the place too. Be weird. Walk in and they're like, we don't have walk-ins. Walk into an engineering firm to talk to somebody. Yeah. And then like, it would even come down to the timing of the boss that's interested or thinking man, I really should put an ad out. I really should hire somebody. Fuck. And then they've been telling themselves that for 6 months and they just never do it because I don't have time. And then they happen to be walking by and you're trying to get past the receptionist or the locked door or whatever. And you knock on the thing and you go, hey, and they go, what the hell do you want? They open the door for some reason. They go, what the hell do you want? It's like, oh man, I came by just to see you guys. I don't know if it's a normal thing now these days. I mean, it used to be I just would walk around when I was younger. I would just walk around and see if people are hiring. Let's share my skills with them and see if they need me, if they need any help. It's just one of my ways of getting to know people. And if they're open to it, you're in. If they're not, then you walk away. Gives a shit. Yeah. Do it.
All right. I think that's solid, man. Okay, well, if you learned something today, and I know you did, please share the show. If you know someone else that needs to hear this message, share the show. Leave us a review, 5 stars, a reason why you loved it. It's the best way that we can continue to create value and impact for the engineering community.